The oligarchate of Durrell came in shimmering silver fleets, their hulls like polished knives against the black. To them, it wasn't an invasion. It was a correction. Humanity, they decided, had grown too loud in the galactic chorus. Too defiant, too willful, too independent. The Durrell were the architects of order, an empire that had absorbed 100 worlds by promise or pressure, and crushed twice as many beneath their heel when promises failed. The Durrell High Executor, Lord Varric Thule, gave the order to subdue the Terran colonies of the Epsilon Verge. Minimal resistance, he promised the Council. Humans bend easily once their pride is broken. The Durrell warships descended on the colony of New Athens, orbiting the blue-white world of Epsilon Prime. The skies ignited with plasma storms. Defense satellites fell silent one by one, like candles snuffed out in the dark. Civilians fled to shelters, children clutched in trembling arms as the night turned to molten glass. A broadcast filled the comms, a voice cold and reptilian. People of Earth's colony, Varric Thule declared. You are now citizens of the oligarchate. Submit, and your species will live to serve. Resist, and your worlds will burn. He gave them 1 hour to respond. Humanity gave him silence, so he destroyed them. Epsilon Prime's capital, Delphi Arcology, vanished beneath orbital fire. Its oceans boiled. Its cities screamed once, and then were gone. 3 million human lives, gone in a single sunrise. When it was done, the Durrell ships drifted in orbit over a dead world, basking in the glow of their victory. Varric Thule smiled in the eerie light. They will understand now, he said to his subordinates. The lesson is simple. The strong command, the weak obey. He didn't notice that somewhere, across light years, a silent transmission had already left the ruins. A distress beacon carried through relay buoys, encrypted in Earth's deep code. A beacon with one line of text pulsing again and again through the void. Colony lost. Civilians terminated. Coordinates attached. Requesting response. And on Earth, humanity heard Tuend. The arrogance of conquerors for the Durrell. It was just another victory. Their empire expanded, their fleets triumphant. They mocked humanity openly in the galactic councils, the great halls of neutral stars where species debated diplomacy and peace. They screamed. One Durrell captain laughed in an open session. They begged us to stop, and then they burned. I expected more from the so-called Terrans. The assembly chuckled uneasily. Many races looked away, unwilling to challenge the oligarchate's cruelty. Humanity's envoys had once stood there, passionate, persuasive, unyielding. But their seats were now empty. One Carthan diplomat asked cautiously, "Will there be reprisal from Earth?" Varric Thule's smirk showed serrated teeth. Reprisal? From a backwater species that still prays to its own reflection? They will mourn, they will rage, and then they will submit. They always do. That is the human cycle. Anger, then surrender. His fleet commanders laughed. They toasted the death of Epsilon Prime. They sold human artifacts as trinkets, a child's drawing, a broken medal, a fragment of a burned flag, trophies from the conquered. Weeks passed, months. No retaliation. The Durrell grew smug, then bored. The galaxy moved on. Humanity was silent, but silence, they forgot, is never peace. Sometimes silence is the sound of something sharpening in the dark. 3. The silence breaks. It began without warning. At the edge of Durrell space, a patrol fleet vanished. No distress call, no wreckage, just static, then another. At first, the oligarchate assumed malfunction. But when they sent recovery ships, they found debris, twisted hulls, melted armor, and the unmistakable carbon scoring of kinetic weaponry. Not plasma, not lasers. Mass drivers. Ancient, brutal, and impossibly precise. A forgotten technology from Earth's earliest wars. Reimagined, refined, and weaponized on a scale no one had seen. Then came the message. A single transmission broadcast across every Durrell channel. You burned our children. You thought we would bend. You forgot what we are. Earth never kneels. And then, the lights of the stars themselves dimmed. The Durrell High Command watched from their capital moon as dozens of blips appeared on long-range scanners, massive, slow, deliberate. Fleets of matte black ships, bearing no transponders, moving with cold precision. No music, no announcement, no parley, just silence. The kind that comes before storms. They called themselves the Iron Banner fleets. Humanity's vengeance made manifest. Built in secret, forged from the wreckage of peace. Ships armored in layers of neutron-hardened steel, bristling with tungsten rail batteries that could shatter moons. Their flagship led the formation, the HMS Eternum. 10 kilometers of pure fury. Its hull bore a single engraving, visible to any who dared look, for Epsilon Prime to 4. Earth's answer. The Durrell sent envoys to negotiate. None returned. They sent fleets to intercept. None survived. Humanity didn't broadcast threats or ultimatums. Their fleets didn't announce arrival with fanfare. They simply appeared. Silent ghosts that struck like thunder. The first world to fall was Varex II, a Durrell supply world. The human fleet entered orbit without a word. Within 5 minutes, every defense satellite, every orbital platform, every fighter wing, gone. The planetary shield flickered and failed under kinetic bombardment. Then came the message again, broadcast from orbit, for Epsilon Prime. And the bombardment began. It wasn't wild or cruel. It was precise, calculated. Every strike surgical, every target chosen. Command centers, shipyards, military hubs. Humanity didn't target civilians. They targeted the machine of war itself. The Durrell called it planetary suffocation. Their infrastructure collapsed overnight. Their fleets scrambled, scattering to defend the undefendable. The galaxy watched, stunned, horrified, enthralled. The oligarchate tried to rally allies, but no one answered. Even those who despised humanity dared not intervene. There was something terrifying about the humans now. Something that went beyond vengeance. Their ships didn't speak. Their soldiers didn't gloat. They moved with the precision of inevitability, as if vengeance had become mathematics. When they fought on the ground, armored, infantry in iron-gray exosuits marked with the sigil of Earth, they were relentless, one Durrell commander recorded. His last words before his stronghold fell. They do not fight for conquest. They fight for remembrance, and they do not stop. The annihilation of the proud, the Durrell home system, the jewel of their empire, fell within 12 days. 12 days that felt like eternity. Human dreadnoughts entered the system under cloak, emerging from the void like phantoms. Their kinetic strikes crippled shipyards before alarms could sound. Planetary shields overloaded under the barrage of tungsten spears hurled at near light. Velocity, the Durrell tried to surrender. Varric Thule himself sent a transmission, his voice trembling for the first time. We yield. The oligarchate will pay reparations. Ceasefire. His voice cut off mid-sentence. The HMS Eternum had fired once. Just once. The kinetic rod hit the Durrell capital moon at 14% of light speed. The surface didn't just shatter, it evaporated. The moon's fragments rained down on the gas giant below, lighting its atmosphere in a halo of fire that burned for hours. When the light faded, the oligarchate was gone. All that remained was static. Humanity sent no reply. No declaration of victory. No ceremony. They simply vanished from the system, leaving silence where empire once stood. Across the galaxy, horror spread like wildfire. Entire sectors went dark, cutting transmissions for fear that even speaking of Earth might draw its attention. The phrase became legend, whispered in the cold halls of the void. When Earth is silent, pray they stay that way. So, the aftermath of vengeance months later, what remained of the Galactic Council convened. Empty seats filled the chamber like ghosts. Representatives spoke in hushed tones. They destroyed an empire, one delegate whispered, in 12 days. No demands, no spoils, nothing, just retribution. They could have ruled us all, another said, and yet they returned home. No one dared say what everyone knew, that the humans had proven a truth older than any law or treaty. Mercy is optional. Memory is eternal. On Earth, the Iron Banner fleets were dismantled. The soldiers returned to quiet lives. Cities rebuilt their colonies. Monuments rose to the fallen of Epsilon Prime. But deep beneath the oceans and in the shadowed shipyards of Luna, new hulls still slept. Silent giants resting in dry dock. Not active, but not forgotten. Each bore a name etched in iron. Epsilon. Delphi, remembrance, vengeance, just in case. Sevent. The Whisper. Across the stars decades later, explorers from a distant species, the Lakar, discovered the ruins of Durrell Prime. The planet's surface was glass, its orbit littered with fragments of cities and ships fused into black stone. In the center of the devastation stood a monument of alien steel, untouched by decay. A single phrase inscribed in English burned deep into the alloy. They thought humans would bend, but Earth never kneels. The Lakar recorded it, transmitted it across the galaxy, and then swore never to set course for Sol. Because the legend had grown. They said the humans wait quietly now, tending their worlds, speaking softly, but behind every smile, every handshake, There's a quiet reminder written into their bones. You can trade with them. You can befriend them, but you cannot break them. Because the last ones who tried are dust drifting between dead stars. And somewhere in the deep black, beneath the shadow of Saturn's rings, an old signal beacon still pulses. Faint, steady, and eternal.